scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Havana, Cuba, weighing 256 pounds, here is the Cuban Commando.
Fans, we start off tonight's NCW Rampage with the Cuban Commando in the ring. Of course, the Cuban has got a very big feud going on with Killer Kurt, his former partner, and look at the Cuban trying to intimidate senior official Billy Biggs. But the Cuban Commando has made some very good improvements over the last few months. Of course, he had a tour of Puerto Rico. He came back and threw a fireball right in the face of his former partner, Killer Kurt. And he's got a very tough challenge here tonight, as he'll be taking on Johnny Noble, who's got a feud of his own.
His opponent from Hazard, Kentucky, weighing 219 pounds, Johnny Noble.
Johnny Noble, as we mentioned, a very big feud with his former partner, Eddie Browning, who now wants to be called Adorable Eddie Browning. Johnny Noble comes to the ring now, and of course, Johnny is on his own and still showing some signs of injury there with the ribs bandaged up. Of course, he has taken some serious beatings, not only in the ring, but as we saw in the parking lot in Kingsport, Tennessee a couple of months ago. And Eddie Browning really just wants rid of Johnny Noble, and we're not really sure what the situation is there. Johnny starts the chant of USA, and of course that gets right under the skin of the Cuban Commando. Fans, our main event tonight features Southern shooter Todd Morton against a member of the First Family, Ruthless Roger Anderson. The Cuban is left. What in the world? The Cuban Commando just walked out of the ring. He said, that's it. I'm just going out on a limb here. He doesn't like the USA chant, as the Cuban stomps around the ring and looks to square off here with Johnny Noble as the two lock up in the center of the ring. Fans will also hear from the Batten Twins, former NCW Tag Team Champions we saw 2 weeks ago. They lost the tag team titles to the Heartbreakers, Wild Child Andy Douglas and Hotshot Kelly Charles. We'll get our first chance to hear from the Batten Twins as we go behind the curtain with Brad and Bart as we continue that feature this week on NCW Rampage. Right now, the match in the ring is we'll talk about some more Johnny Noble and the Cuban Commando. The Cuban from Havana, Cuba. Johnny Noble comes to us from Hazard, Kentucky. Delivers a side headlock now to the Cuban. Locking that in. Cuban with a handful of hair, backing Johnny into the rope, shoots him across. Johnny, nice shoulder tackle, and now jumps over the Cuban Commando, and the Cuban goes for the high hip toss, reversed by Johnny, and he delivers a hip toss of his own. Now a scoop slam on the big Cuban, and down he goes. The Cuban up to his feet now, backing up in the corner and falling down on that bottom turnbuckle. I think the Cuban is not really expecting the quickness of Johnny Noble here. He's been going after Killer Kurt over the past few months, and you get a guy like Johnny Noble who comes in very quick and very agile, and I think that takes the Cuban off of his game. Cuban Commando and Johnny Noble now locking up, and the Cuban raking the eyes and driving Johnny's head right into that top turnbuckle. The Cuban, again, likes to take those shortcuts, but there delivers a big open-handed chop and delivers another one to Johnny Noble, and Noble firing back. And the two are exchanging chops in the middle of the ring, and now Noble, with the upper hand, shoots the Cuban into the opposite side, but the Cuban was waiting for that. Kicked him right in the midsection, and now a nice maneuver by Johnny Noble as he reversed it. Rolling him up, trying to go for the pinfall. Nice little maneuver there. He's got a 1 and a 2, and the Cuban rolls out of that. Cuban quickly to his feet, delivers a clothesline to Johnny Noble. And stomping on those ribs. Of course, no real surprise there that he goes to work on the ribs, as Johnny has that taped up, and he has for some time. And you remember a few weeks ago, he came out to team up with Tracy Smothers. He wasn't cleared to wrestle by the physicians, but Johnny came out and wrestled anyway. And now he's met with a big bear hug by the Cuban Commando. Putting pressure right there on the small of the back, at the same time taking the air out of the lungs of Johnny Noble. And Noble clenching that closed fist. Referee Billy Biggs quickly in there and says, we'll have none of that. It's a good opportunity here for the Cuban to wear down Johnny Noble and take him off of his game. And referee Billy Biggs raising the hand now of Johnny Noble. He's got 1. There's 2. If he drops it this time, the Cuban is going to get the win. And no, Johnny trying to feed off the fans as they start the USA chant. Noble trying to fire back. That'll ring your bell right there. And Noble delivering the right hands right to the side of the head, but the Cuban again goes right back to work on the ribs. He delivers the knee to the midsection, now lines up Johnny for a big suplex, raises him high in the air, holds him, and is still holding him there, and finally drops him down. Boy, impressive maneuver by the Cuban Commando with that high vertical suplex. Now he goes for the cover. He's got a 1 and a 2 and nearly a 3 count. Didn't hook the leg that time on Johnny Noble, and Noble is able to kick out. Now the Cuban trying to shoot Johnny into the opposite side. Nice Russian leg sweep by Johnny Noble to reverse that. So both men are down. Who will get to their feet first as referee Billy Biggs begins the 10 count. He's at 2 and now at 3. Again, the fans starting the USA chant. The Cuban crawls over and delivers a shot right to the small of the back and in that rib area of Johnny Noble. And the Cuban again into the opposite side, and a high vertical backdrop by the Cuban Commando, and Johnny Noble down once again. Now the Cuban going outside. Seeing the Cuban go to the top rope. What's he got lined up here? The madman from Havana, Cuba, balancing himself, positioning himself, diving off. He misses the leg drop. Johnny Noble rolls out of the way. Now is his opportunity to try to get behind the fans, or have the fans get behind him and try to come back on the Cuban here. Noble to his feet. He blocks the punch of the Cuban Commando. And one more time. Noble, the right hands to the side of the head on the Cuban. And again, wait, look from the back. From the back, Bo James and Roger Anderson are out. Noble delivers the elbow. And there we see interference there from Bo James and Roger Anderson. It's 3-on-1. A 3-on-1 here as they continue to work on the ribs. Help from the back. Here comes Todd Morton and Killer Kurt. Kurt immediately going for the Cuban Commando. And Todd Morton going for handsome Bo James. Those four men have had quite a feud over the last few weeks, all squaring off in the center of the ring. Johnny Noble still trying to get to his feet. Roger Anderson coming in the ring. Now it's a 2-on-1 on Todd Morton, but Johnny Noble evens the score as he gets to his feet. Now the first family spills to the outside, and the 3 men left in the middle of the ring, Todd Morton, Johnny Noble, and Killer Kurt. This match has been thrown out by Billy Biggs. It'll be Johnny Noble getting the win over the Cuban Commando here tonight. Big win for Johnny Noble as Bo James and Ruthless Roger Anderson interfere. Bo says the Cuban. Well, that's not the case. Johnny Noble gets the win here tonight. Fans, we're going to go to the NCW Event Center. We'll be back after this timeout with more on NCW Rampage.